Hey guys, Ben from KCT, and if you've ever bought a tactical product from a hardware store and now you're stuck explaining it to the internet, go ahead and smash that like button. Guys, I am Ben again from KCT, the everyday TLR1 clone that you find at Harbor Freight Enjoyer that Trench Grenade says we have at home. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I know that this is kind of a product that's generated a little bit of buzz, so we're going to talk about it today, and that is the TLR1 clone from Braun/Harbor Freight. And it is something you can pick up today if they're still available for right around 50 bucks. So not too bad for a TLR1 clone. I believe the LAPG clone of the TLR1 that I got was like 65, 70, something like that. So this is definitely in the same price range there, and the power output is pretty surprising with the light. So we'll get into all that, guys. We're going to do quite a bit of stuff with this. We are going to beat this up a little bit more. We do have several videos planned on this light, which is crazy for a $50 light, but hey, people seem to like it, so what do you know? Anyways, first thing I want to do is tell you why we have this mounted up like it is, and that is because we're going to go ahead and beat the crap out of it. And I thought one of the best ways to beat the crap out of this light would be to stick it on an old Mossy Tactics Midnight mount, which I believe was made by Battle Arms back in the day. I won that from a competition up in MTAC, I think in like 2012, something like that. It's been a long time. And so I decided to go ahead and put that on my 10.5 and put it right over the PWS FSC 5.56 muzzle brake, one of the blastiest brakes out there. And if it can survive being on this gun and getting blasted like that, it's a pretty good chance it's going to do okay on most applications. Because that 10.5 is pretty violent, and that comp is, well, even more violent. So, now this setup is not the most ideal. It is almost impossible. And yes, there is a second light here, and it is a Tacticon Armament clone of the Surefire, because I'm just too lazy to take it off just to mount this on here, because all I'm going to do with this is beat on it, and we're just going to go ahead and wail on it, and then not really use it, other than to test to see if it still works. But yeah, it is really hard to go ahead and activate that light with the clone here, the Tacticon. I got my pressure pad, which works great, but on this, to go ahead and actuate that light, the way that you would typically grip the rifle, you either have to come way forward with your thumb, run it up for constant, down for temporary, or come way up there with your left index finger. So, again, this is not an ideal setup. This is something that was made years and years and years ago for like police departments, things like that. They couldn't modify their rifles. Back when everybody was issuing, fixed front sight post rifles, this was something that they could use to mount a light on. Now, if I had a pressure switch for this, this would be a lot easier to run, but I don't, and I'm not about to double the price of this light just to get a Streamlight pressure pad kit for this thing, because it would easily double the price of that light. So basically, when we're done shooting it, after we've done, quite a few rounds on it, we'll go ahead and test it. Oh yeah, it does have a strobe. And I guess if you're using gloves, you could probably run it a little bit more effectively. But again, this is not something that I'm like actually running. This is just to test. That's why I'm leaving this other light on there. So the other thing we have to take a look at is the LAPG pistol light, which is their version of the TLR1, and it's pretty similar. We'll go ahead and take a look at both of those together and see what we think. Okay, so here they are off their respective guns. This is the Harbor Freight Braun tactical light, and this is the LAPG slide rail tactical light. So I know everyone else is comparing the TLR1 to the TLR1 clone, and that makes sense. I, however, have a TLR1 clone and another TLR1 clone. And if you want to see the actual TLR1, go check out everyone else's video. That's not what we're doing here today because, well, I don't have one. So, why am I doing this? Well, the LAPG light works for about a half to 2/3 the price of a Streamlight, and it works in a lot of the holsters that were designed specifically for the Streamlight TLR1. So my question was going to be, how well does this work? And the good news is it works out pretty well. We'll do a little bit more of a holster comparison here shortly. So we go ahead and take a look at them side by side. We can see that there's a little bit more rail grabbing surface with the LAPG than the TLR1 clone from Harbor Freight, but not by much. And realistically, when we go compare here, rail gravities are identical. This side has the attachments there. Now, if you notice, the attachments are a little bit different, and the LAPG was designed just like the TLR1. Sorry, I'm sweating everywhere. It was designed just like the TLR1, and it was made to essentially use a coin or anything small that you had in your pocket. Like, yeah, anyways. And so it's designed to be sort of field serviceable, where this is more so using a screwdriver, which this will fit in there just quite nicely. Where in this, there's so much slop that if it's not already loose, like your mother, it's harder to use a screwdriver, something like this. This also, I believe, has a channel for an Allen wrench in there that you can go ahead and use that to tighten it down with the included Allen wrench. However, I've seen people already strip those out online, so I'm not going to do it. Now, for the slide rail, they actually have a slide rail section that allows you to change the position of the little locking tab for your Picatinny or, Glock style rails, whatever you have on your pistol. And that can be loosened up by taking this screw out or backing out a little bit, and then you go ahead and slide that around to your desired location, tighten that screw back in, and you're good to go. This uses the locking keys that the TLR1 uses. You see there, little Glock locking key there, and it comes with, I believe, 8 of them. So you have your Picatinny rail, you've got your Beretta 90-2, so the whole 92 family, whether it's 92 or 90-2. I think we've got the SIG 320, and there's a Taurus one in there, all sorts of great stuff. So I prefer this, but I don't like how far it sticks out, because this is the one thing that does impact holster capability. The fact that this sticks out so far when this doesn't, you can feel it kind of dragging a bit on holsters. And once this is screwed in, I mean, it doesn't hang over the light body at all. Where this one, it's chunkier and it's harder to get this thing in and out of the holster, depending on the holster, of course. Now you can go ahead and pull this out, add this little screw there, and you can put in new locking blocks. So the controls are the same. So I have them both here, and on the LAPG, pushing the paddles down on the right is constant. Up to the right is temporary. Up at the left is constant. Down at the left, temporary. Same with this. Constant. Temporary. Temporary. Constant. So, same switchology. Personally, I don't like the switchology on these. Same thing with like the Fiachi brand that they sent out. This is backwards from the other one. I much more prefer like the paddle type or button type on the side, just like this Nightcore. This Nightcore is way out of date though. Anyways, there's another video up on that one. So let's take a look at the batteries there. So the LAPG here, the sweet Harbor Freight right here, and all you're going to do is pull up on this little tab here, and that unlocks your battery compartment. And then there's a little little metallic flippy-do there that holds it in. And that is the actual terminology for it, is a metallic flippy-do. These are the batteries that it comes with. It actually has them in there and ready to go. And it is something that you can test at Harbor Freight to see if it works. Like, they'll let you actually turn it on. It doesn't look very bright in the package, but it is quite bright outside the package. So you do have a rubber gasket there, which is fairly substantial. And go ahead and pop that back on there, that battery in there. Now, what I found is that this is kind of like the regular TLR1, where it's kind of a pain in the butt to get everything lined up. So you kind of go ahead and get that back in there. You got to get everything lined up just so, and you're good to go. Now, this is a warm light, as in it is warm. It produces some heat for you. Same thing with the LAPG, but the Braun or Harbor Freight is quite a bit warmer, and I think that is owed to the better output and tighter beam on this thing here. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at these lights outside, but first, before we do that, everyone has had questions on holster compatibility, so let's get into holster compatibility. Okay, so for holster compatibility, there are just a couple considerations we're going to look at prior to making sure that this fits. So I have on here the SOF, or Seeds of Freedom AIM, the Advanced Iron Sight Module, and a Dawson Precision Raised Front Sight. So this setting system together is extremely fast. It's extremely accurate. It rocks a house for iron sights. After using this, I don't want to use regular irons. I'm more of a dot guy, but this is phenomenal. However, it does limit your holster compatibility slightly because this front sight is a little high. Suppressor, sight, gang, raise up, you know what I'm talking about. You know how that goes. So I will not be sticking this thing in every freaking holster I can, because sometimes it just gets stuck like you do. But I will show you the ones that I can, but the rest of them still do fit. If I had a slide without these sights, we could definitely do all that goodness. So for Safariland, if you've got one of these sweet, I don't remember if this is the RDO, the RDS. You guys know what I'm talking about, though. It's a main Safariland red dot with the hood there. Go ahead. Toss it in. Stays locked in. Activates with the ALS nub. Good to go. Fits the 6000 series, 7000 series, and we're talking about Glocks with lights. If you have an MMP or a 320, well, I'm sorry for you there. Rip. But, yeah, all that good stuff. This is just testing Glocks today. It fits in the Safariland. Safariland, yes, guys. $16 special holster. So, the AliExpress Safariland clone. Yeah, because that's real Safariland. Anyways, guys, yeah, so this is like a clone of their 6000 series, and it does fit in there. So Safariland's got your back. They're pretty much got you covered. Oh, wait, one more. If you're cool enough to own one of these, this is the 3064-73 for the Beretta, and this thing eats all kinds of pistols. No issues. Fits in there just fine. Relive your GWatt days. Throw one of these on there. Good to go. Okay, so for Blackhawk holsters, Blackhawk has made a bit of a living on making holsters that are light specific. So this is their L2D, I believe, and it's for Glock with the TLR1, and fits just fine, but it is a little bit snug due to that locking screw there. So it does go ahead and fit. You see, it's not coming out. So this would fit in their Omnivore as well, if it is for the TLR1. It also fits in their Epoch holster. Now, with the raised sight on there, this thing does snag like a mofo, so I'm not going to try it. But if you have standard sight or standard height sights on your Glock, you are good to go with either of these Blackhawk offerings and also the Omnivore. A super spicy take, but for all my ride or die Israelis out there, the Phobos LE2 fits just fine. Good to go there. It fits the IWI, what do they call this? Their roto holster. IMI, sorry. Locks in there. Go ahead and hit the button, draw it out there. Fits the Phobos RBT-17 with the Lighthouse 3 attachment. It'll fit without it too, without the attachment. Go ahead, toss it in there, lock it down, do your thing, push it out, go be Israeli. And for the Orpaz T40X, it's in there just fine. Then the T40X Pro, good to go. Mil-spec Mojo fans out there, Alien Gear holster. Go ahead, lock that in there. You are good to go. Boom, works just fine. And last but not least, my odds and ends crew. It fits a lot of different other holsters. So this is Tactical Design Labs. Back before they were bought out, I think, by Point Blank Enterprises. This is their Excalibur holster, I believe. And it's designed to actually have pressure here. There's actually a stud with a spring in there, like me. And that puts pressure on it, locks it in there. And to get it out, there's actually a lever inside here. It's hard to see, but it's right there. Got to push it down, and then you got to push in on the holster, and it'll let it go. If you just push the lever, nothing happens. You actually have to push it in to draw it out. So it works there. On this old, weird Uncle Mike's law enforcement, when Uncle Mike's fit out Safariland, it will fit. It's just the high front sight I have stops it. But it will fit in there if you have a normal front sight. This Tigi holster, this is those Amazon specials, but yeah, if you think this is a holster, and you have one of those, it'll fit in there. Again, just the rear sights are snagging on there. But other than that, it'll go ahead and fit. And speaking of Point Blank Enterprises and all that, this is the Gould & Goodrich Teller 4000, I believe. 4000, yep, X4000 clock. Go ahead and chuck that in there. Throw the hood on. You are good to go. Pop the hood down. Quick release. And fits in that. So if you guys have some weird odds and ends holsters, it probably fits. If you have something that fits a TLR1, I'd say, yeah, if you have something like that, go for it. But I have more weird holsters than you do, so yeah, there's that. Okay, so here we are out here doing a quick light test on showing the output of the lights. Over here we have the LA Police Gear, their copy of the TLR1, and then over here we have the Harbor Freight or Braun copy of the TLR1. So here is the LAPG, which is pretty bright. Gives us some good view there. You see the cat that's hiding over there in the grass. And then here is the Harbor Freight one, which is quite a bit brighter. I think they're both to be, I think the LAPG one is like 800 lumens, this is supposed to be 1,000, and you can definitely tell, looking at them, how the Harbor Freight one is brighter and has a bigger beam pattern, a wider beam pattern. It's more defined too. So this is LAPG, and this is Harbor Freight. So I think on the output, I like the Harbor Freight more. And then this is the strobe they have. The Harbor Freight LAPG one does not have the strobe, which I'd prefer no strobe on that. But it is what it is. So, and there we have it.